All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Chill Time with Clark. I'm here with Miss Tawny Lynn, who was on season 6, episode 9 of Naked and Afraid, as well as season 2 XL of South Africa. How are you doing, name is Tony?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. So I just kind of want to go over, I guess, life leading up to you going on Naked and Afraid. Like, what were you always a survivor, like a survival chick? I mean, what kind of got you there?
Honestly, Clark, I had no survival background whatsoever. I've been camping a couple of times. How I got on the show, they just randomly emailed me. I think it was based off of my Instagram following of like all the firearm stuff. They figured by nature I was some, outdoors chick or whatever. And
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
just randomly emailed me and they're like, we're looking for women to be on this show. And I honestly just deleted the email. I had no interest. I never even heard of Naked and Afraid.
yeah.
And so I was just kind of talked into it by friends. Like I told them later, like Discovery Channel emailed me. They want me to go on Naked and Afraid. What the hell is that? And they were
They're like,
like,
what?
dude, you have to do it. So I
Yeah,
called the lady back and I'm like, listen, I've never built a fire, even with kerosene. So
yeah.
like I'm not the one. I promise you I'm not the one. And she basically was like, well, can you learn? I'll give you a week to like go out and learn. And I said, okay, I'll try. We'll see how it goes. And literally within like 2 months, I was filming.
Oh
So
man, that's
yeah,
crazy. It
it
happened
was
that
wild.
fast.
Yeah,
Jeez, that's
yeah.
fun. So about the show, what kind of experience was it? Was it like we see on TV, or y'all really left out there all by yourself? I mean, is it really you just complete? I mean, I know they've got medics and stuff, I'm sure, on standby, but is it pretty much like we see it on TV, or?
For the most part, it's really hard to document what you're going through internally and portray that to the audience because you're starving to death. I mean, Africa by day, 20, your organs are starting to shut down because you're so malnourished. So how you portray that to the audience is nearly impossible. But as far as like who is out there with you, you have one sound guy, one producer, one camera guy, and then you have a medic, like you said, on standby. But what a lot of people don't realize is they work a 9 to 5. So 5 o'clock, they're going home. They're going back to their hotel. They're having, their fancy dinner, and you're by yourself until the next morning. And what was fun about the first episode in Florida was my partner left on day 5. So I was literally alone for
Oh
most of
my!
the time. So that was a completely different environment than going to Africa where it was a group challenge.
And then you're just inside your head the whole time. So,
Dude, yes, that's all you have is you in your head.
oh my goodness, how long were you there on the first one?
21 days.
21. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yep.
Daggum. And so what about talking to the camera guys? Do you get to talk to them, or you have to pretend like they're not there, or?
I think for my situation being by myself, I had a little bit more of a privilege if they did interact with me a little bit just to make sure I wasn't going to quit, which
Yeah.
that was never a thought for me. I mean, when my partner left, they're like, "Get ready to pack up, guys. This girl's going to tap." Like they had no faith in me whatsoever.
Yeah,
And
but you
and
did
I
it.
stayed, but they just, they would tell me, "Tawny, you got that 1,000-yard stare. What's going on?" So it was nice to have that dialogue with them, but for the most part, they're not supposed to interfere whatsoever. They just let you and your partner go through the process of the survival experience.
So what's the craziest situation that happened off camera that wasn't recorded? Is there anything like that that nobody ever saw or knows about that happened?
Oh my gosh. I would say like I had a massive phobia of snakes and they never aired my catching snakes and cutting the heads off and skinning it and then eating it. I did that like 3 or 4 times and they never showed that. So that was kind of wild.
Why? Oh
Yeah.
man.
I think the one part in Africa that they never aired, we ate a lot of turtles in Africa.
Yeah.
And me and this guy Ryan, we actually found the turtle's testicles and we cheersed with it and then we
Yeah.
ate it. Because I mean you'll eat
Man.
anything when you're starving to death. And so they never showed that. That was probably the wildest thing that I ate for sure.
Yeah, that's and so for the Africa one though, the on the season 2 XL, you were there for the whole season.
For most of the season, I got medevaced on day like 29, day 30, and went straight to the African hospital, which is actually, according to the locals, more dangerous than it was being out in the bush because that was a whole nother experience. I mean, the nurses were barefoot, no gloves. They never
What?
took my vitals. It was wild. It was super wild. But yeah, the length of the XL is supposed to be 40 days.
Good gracious. So I guess because malnutrition and all that, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I had tick bite fever, which feels like pneumonia. I had a ruptured cyst. I just kind of like by day 21, we all had what we called blackout sticks. And it was just like a walking stick to help you from blacking out every time you stood up. Because when you stood up, your whole world went black. And
Good.
finally, I succumbed to that blackness, and I like passed out. I fell on my blade. I've got a big scar on my leg from it. And they were like, we gotta take her out. I didn't have a choice. And that was, it took me a long time to get over that because that was a huge failure for me, was not being able to complete.
Yeah, I imagine because so I guess they called you and said, "Hey, since you did so well on this first one, you want to come on season two?" And then how long ago was that with the Africa? How long ago that happened when you cut your leg and all that?
So the first one was like June 2015. 6 months later, I did the Africa show. So that was like January, February of 2016.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like back to back then. Yeah,
It was like
cool.
this time 8 years ago or something. I was out there.
Yeah. Do you still like do you still keep in touch with the people that you knew on there or not really?
We for a few years we did really well. I mean, I still keep in touch with like Jake Nodar was out there with me. He was like the comic relief. I don't know if you should check him out sometime. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
And a couple
Yeah,
of
I'll check him
the
out.
other girls, but for the most part, not really.
So what did life look like after you left Naked and Afraid? Did you I mean, I know that you were doing a lot of the guns on social media and all that stuff like that, which I think would be cool if you started doing that again, that kind of content. That would be, or any kind of content like that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I've ever known is the gun world with social media. Life after Naked and Afraid got pretty crazy for me. I went through, I mean, my childhood was already so traumatic, and I don't know if you've heard any of my story or read up on it, but
I
pretty
have
awful.
I
That's actually why they cast me on the show, was because of my story and how messed up it was.
oh
It
my goodness,
actually
man.
got much worse after Naked and Afraid. I went down a really dark path. I struggled with addiction. I was in and out of jail. And so that's why I took like a 4 or 5 year break from social media, because I was really battling some serious demons. So,
Yeah, man, there's
yeah.
no way. I went through actually most of my pretty much actually all of my 20s. I had a pretty bad addiction myself, an opiate addiction actually, and
Yep. Yep.
I've never said that on camera until
I haven't either. It
yesterday.
was my first time.
Is it really? I've
It
got
is. It is.
goosebumps.
That's
Are
why I
you
was so nervous
serious?
about this.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So
Yeah, because I've never
yesterday
come out and
I
said,
said it I just said it yesterday and I was so scared, but honestly, I was told by quite a few people already, like, man, you should really share your story
you
because,
have to.
where you were at then versus where you're at now. I mean, you've got a lot of good life experiences and to come out of that, people don't realize a lot of pretty much everybody that I knew or ran with back then, they're either in jail, which I've been to jail a few times myself. They're either in jail or they're not here anymore. They're gone.
Yeah,
And
that gave me goosebumps because that's literally it. There's two roads out of that life, and it's death or prison. You know, and thank the Lord that you're out of that, because the statistics is less than 1% of people with opiate addiction ever make it out. So good on you, man. I respect you so much more for that.
yeah, I respect you. I had no idea, but that's thank you so
Nobody
much
does.
for sharing that because yeah, so you could really take this, you could use your story. I mean, I know it's for me too. Just talking about it, still kind of like, you know what I
I
mean?
know
But not.
it's scary. It's so scary. You know, there's a
It
lot of
is.
judgment.
There is everybody. Yeah, that's the problem is everybody wants to judge and stuff when they don't have any they don't know anything about it. They just want to judge and point fingers. But I think we should really keep our heads held high and share
Absolutely.
our story and just tell people like, hey, there's a lot of people in addiction right now. A lot.
Yep.
It's more and more every year, especially with the
Yep.
opiate.
Yep.
Really with
Yep.
everything. But and a lot of them feel hopeless, like, man, I'll never be able to. I'll get messages sometimes from people back home, and man, I'm proud of you, da da da. Because I was pretty much homeless. I mean, I was couch. I was never sleeping on the actual street. I was just couch surfing basically, and
Yeah. Yeah. Same here.
that's
Drug house after drug house after living in my car, like you name it, I slept there.
yeah,
It was wild.
it is. And at the
That's
time,
crazy.
It's just like it is. So you were a survivalist then, before and after you did that.
Yeah.
That's people don't realize, and I really and truly believe though, people like us that go through that. Obviously, we're not proud of it. Still have some shamefulness for sure, but we can't live in
Yep.
that shame. We really
No,
can't.
we can't.
We need to use it and show people, hey, look where I'm at now. I've still got a long ways to go. I've always felt like I was meant to help people somehow, like on a massive scale. I always just kind of
Yep.
knew I'm gonna change people's lives one day, and I never really knew how, but maybe going through all that and addiction and stuff, maybe I can, or actually, yeah, I can for sure use all that to
Yeah.
try to just encourage people that, hey man, you don't have to be stuck in this. You can beat it. It's a little bit hard when you stop certain one, because the physical withdrawals on a lot of different, drugs and stuff. But you get through that physical part, and then the mental part comes in, and that takes a while. It takes a long time. There is
Yep.
a day, by the grace of God. I mean, God loves
100%.
everybody, and people want to get mad about when you bring up religion and stuff, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my mother's prayers, my grandparents' prayers, and all they did for me.
Amen.
I just wouldn't be here. I fully believe in the power of prayer.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, I believe that when you go through something like that and survive, that becomes your ministry. Like
Yes.
that's why we walked through what we walked through and survived so that we could share like what Jesus did for us.
That's
And so that's
exactly
really what I want to
exactly
do with
right.
my platform now. I'm just not really sure where to start. And I know a
Yeah.
lot of that is probably Satan getting in my head saying like,
Oh,
"No, don't
yeah.
tell people."
1,000.
So I just have to learn to be bold and share my testimony.
That's right. Well, I've
And
got your
so do you.
back. Yes, yeah, yeah, me too. Now, yeah, keep me in line. Make sure, keep me accountable as far as posting that kind of content, because I really want to do that. I really want to help people. I think you definitely can too. I think you should just really start recording like you're doing right now. I'm obviously going to post this. I can post some reels from it, but and you can post those. But I think you should sit down and be like, "Hey, my name is Tony, off naked and afraid," and and say, and I was, struggle with addiction, and just tell them, and then just say, I just want to share my testimony with everybody and what I went through and trials and tribulations and all that, and you'd be surprised how many people will start reaching out, because I just mentioned mine on Miss Ivory's podcast just for a second, and it hasn't even got that many views. I probably had 15 or 20 messages already just saying, "What, I'm stuck in it right now. What do I do? Blah, blah, blah." And then a lot of them say, "Proud of you. I was in it too. I've been sober for, a year now," is what this one guy was just telling me. And I said, "That's awesome, man. A year. That
That's a
first year was
milestone, man.
whoa, yeah." And all of a sudden, more and more time builds up, and all of a sudden, you've got 5 years and you've got 10. But yeah, I really feel like, yeah, we could definitely, we're going to help a lot of people with our stories. So
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. We should do this again and keep building on it on like addiction
I
and
think we should too. I think, because I was talking to my other friend from New Zealand about this right here, and I think that'd be a good idea. We could do like a once a month, or every other week we could do it, just a little 20-30 minute just rundown or something like that. I'm totally cool
we
with that. We
should.
can do it once a week
We
if you want to.
should. Because I want to do it, but I want someone to converse with me. You know what I mean? I want to just be
Yeah.
like, so this is what happened. You know what I
Like, "Hey
mean?
guys,
So
what's up?" Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It does make it a lot easier, because there's no way I could get on here by myself and be like, "What's up, guys?" and just start talking about it. Not the first time
Yeah.
anyway. So it's definitely making it a lot easier. Like, there were times I woke up in the back of an ambulance probably 3, maybe 4 times, and from overdosing, and I didn't mean to. I wasn't like, "I'm gonna OD." No, it wasn't that. I
Right,
just,
right. No one ever plans for
consumed
that.
too much of a cocktail of different things, and just it's a bad, deadly combination. It really is, and the blackouts and not remembering things, and
Yeah.
just I remember one time. Well, actually, one of the times that I got a DUI. It's just so embarrassing, but I remember it was lunchtime, and I was in Macon, Georgia, and I took some things, and all of a sudden, I closed my eyes and I came to, and it was midnight. 12 hours had passed. I was 45 minutes away, driving my car down some random dirt road, and I was running off the road, like into this. It wasn't a deep ditch, but I ran off the road, and I actually, and that's what woke me up. And I looked at the time, and it was like midnight. I said, dude, where did the 12 hours go? And to this day, I looked at my Google Maps on my phone and it showed where all I drove. And I stopped at some random address for, I think, 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know if I haven't even been by that house. And that was 6 or 7 years ago. It's been a while. So
Right.
no, it was five. Yeah, it was 6 years ago. And I don't even know what house that is. And like to this day, my wife and I, we almost went by there last time we went down to visit. I just want to see if it'll trigger anything, but at the same time, it's not going to really help. It's not going to help.
Right. Yeah,
But
I don't feel ashamed of that. I mean, that's your past life. You've overcome that. I should have 500 DUIs, but that's one thing I never got caught for. But yeah, I've got much worse.
yeah, well, the letting my mother down. So my mom, I'm trying to get emotional. So my mom passed away from 3 years ago. I can't believe it's been 3 years. She actually, so she, it was unexpected, kind of. So she'd had a year before.
God, yeah.
Put her on a ventilator for 3 weeks, and of course, the ventilator. She came out of it, but she couldn't walk, talk. Her hands were like stuck like this, and she had a trach in her neck. And so she spent that entire year, that entire next 12 months recovering. She was learning how to walk, got the trach taken out. She could talk again. I didn't hear my mom's voice for probably 4 months. And I remember when she started finally talking, I said, Mama, I can't go 4 months again without hearing your voice. I just can't, because I love my mom. A year went by and my son was born. Well, 9 months went by after she got out. My son was born, my second child. He was 3 months old when she finally got to see him, because we lived 10 hours away, and the working and I was still working construction. My wife was working on the military base. The money was really, really tight back then. And we weren't able to drive 10 hours with a newborn anyway, right then, because she wanted to come up there, but she couldn't walk without a walker. She had to have help and stuff like that. And so that about killed her having to wait that long. So we finally got down there a week before Christmas, had the absolute best Christmas we've ever had. My stepdad and I, we'd had issues, kind of butted heads through the years, and we like reconciled, and it was the absolute best Christmas ever. We go home, and 4 days later, my brother called me at 3 o'clock in the morning and said that she had passed away. She still had to do breathing treatment, so she'd wake up gasping for air, and she was pretty much, she couldn't catch her breath. And yeah, that's pretty much how I won't go on all the details. So when that happened, I decided right then, I said, life's too short to work a job I hate for the rest of my life. So
Yeah.
I'm going to retire. I wasn't even a creator then either. I said, I'm going to retire from construction. I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year. And that's when I just started speaking on it, doing my every morning. I'd read my little, daily devotional and stuff, and get motivated, and listen to my, podcasts in my ear and stuff like that. And sure enough, I think 9 months later, I retired from construction, and I'd lost, I think, 70 or 80 pounds at that point.
Ooh.
I said I was going to retire by my birthday, which is in July, so I missed it. It took me an extra 2 months. But what I'm getting at is mindset. I feel like mindset is absolutely everything. I mean, do you agree on that? Yep.
100%. I feel like what you imagine becomes your reality. What you focus on, you become, right? And there's so much power in your words. And the Bible says that your words, they speak life or they speak death. So we have to be
Yes.
so careful what we speak and what we declare. So
Yes.
I'm 100% with you on that.
1,000%. Yeah, that's the main thing, is not being, because words can be death, and negativity is so sticky too. It'll stick to you if you wake up and start being negative. And so, when people in addiction, is with me anyways, for a long time, I just accepted it. I just said, this is it. This is my life. I'm going to be an addict forever. And I keep trying to. I would get clean and go to rehab and get out, and it wouldn't be long, I'd start messing up again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess I was putting myself back in around those people, and just not. I don't know. I wasn't putting God first either. I wasn't, really talking to God. I just, for me, that kind of did it for me. I think that's when things started going. Because a lot of people in the place I was at, they said, well, whenever you relapse, what are two things you didn't do that day? I think they said prayed or called somebody or something like that. Was their saying. And that kind of makes sense, really. But anything we say, your words really literally become your reality. So people can't can't be negative. What kind of advice do you have for people as far as that are still stuck in that lifestyle or of addiction or anything like that? What advice would you give to them, I guess, from your own personal experience to help them or give them hope?
Well, from my experience, I went to treatment probably 7, 8 times, failed every time. It wasn't until I took maybe a year, and spent a year working on myself. No one can be fixed in 30 days. It takes 30 days just to come out of the withdrawal and out of, the chemical part of it. But you have to rewire your brain on every aspect of your life, on how to react to situations, and how to process emotions. That can't be done in 30 days. So I don't know why they designed treatment to be done in 30 days. So
No,
my advice would be to find a year program. Oh, that's faith based. Um,
yes.
because apart from Jesus, we can do nothing. And I know that that's going to be foreign to a lot of people because a lot of people don't believe in the Lord. But what do you have to lose? Your life.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
And the other thing that I really don't like about treatment programs is they start out every meeting with, "Hi, I'm Tawny, I'm an addict." No, you are not. Again, the
I
power of your words. Stop saying that. You are not an addict. I am a grateful woman in recovery. That's what I would always say. I'm not
yes.
owning that. I'm not claiming that over my life. So
No.
I think that's another big problem with the treatment facilities is they keep people in bondage with that.
Yeah, they
So
really do.
that would be my advice. And the other thing is like you have to be willing to be lonely. You have to be willing to change people, places, and things, right? You can't go back to the same people, you can't go back to the same places. So I had to be comfortable being alone and learning how to live again. And I never logged back into that, how everything's through Facebook Messenger because no one can afford a phone.
Yeah, yeah.
I just never logged back into that Facebook. I never reached out to those people again. And it was lonely and it was hard, but I made it because I was willing to make those changes and those sacrifices combined with having the Lord, setting me free from those bondages. Um,
That's right.
Otherwise you just can't do it. You're going to be stuck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I hate how they do that. Yeah. Hey, my name's Clark. I'm an addict. Hey, Clark. Like everybody say, hey,
Yeah,
hey,
everyone's like,
Mr.
"Yeah."
Addict Clark. Like, no, that's not. That never. Because then a lot of them say, well, once an addict, always an addict. Blah 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 blah. I don't believe that. I mean, I
No,
don't.
no.
That's labeling somebody, and that's telling you when you. So for new people, go to those meetings and stuff. They say, yeah, once an addict, always addict. That's telling them, okay, well, yeah, you might be sober. This might be your first day in to get a white chip, but you're always going to be an addict. So,
Yeah.
and so that kind of
Good
makes it,
luck
that
with
made me
that.
feel kind of, I don't know. I
Right?
didn't like hearing that at all. No, that's a big one for sure. I'd like to, I don't know. My granddad had actually talked about when I was younger, because my dad went through a lot of issues with addiction and stuff. And
Yeah,
he
same.
passed away when I was 15 in a car wreck or whatever. But my granddad had always said he wanted to one day open up a treatment facility, make it faith based, and do it the right way. So who knows? One day in the future, that could be in our future. Yours or mine or both or whatever. Who knows what's going to happen? But I know that whatever we speak on and whatever everything happens in God's world on God's time, and I understand that 1,000%. Whenever it's the right time, it'll happen. Whatever's meant to happen is going to happen. I guess is pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
you know.
100%. Yep,
So most
that's
definitely,
awesome.
I'm
Fine.
glad we're talking about this right here for sure.
I feel like this was completely fated that we started talking about this. I think this was a divine appointment.
I had no clue that you had addiction issues in the past. Like I didn't know. I think it was I don't believe in coincidences. Nothing happens by mistake for sure. So I think there's some kind of divine something going on with us bringing this up because it both
Yeah,
just gave confidence to talk about it. And I'm not even nervous about posting it or anything because I know it's going to help people. And they might run their mouth. I mean, people do that on social media. They just do it to do it. And
yeah,
that's something else. A lot of these people on social media, it's so easy for them, and I just ignore it now. But for a lot of creators coming up. So what I was gonna say is when you start creating videos and stuff again, there's gonna be some people on there that are gonna talk crap and just say little snippety things. But The bigger purpose is to help people, and they're very insignificant. Those one or two people that are going to say something negative, just ignore them and just keep going for sure. Because ignoring three people could change the lives of 3 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just off video. You never know. That's the crazy thing about social media.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, when I first became an influencer, I mean, that's the new term, but when I first
Yeah.
I was like the OG of female gun girls, right? Like I was the first one to come out and like get a following. And I had pages created to bash me. I had like memes made about like people
Really?
hated me. Yes. And it used to give me the worst anxiety. And actually Naked and Afraid kind of shut those haters down, but I'll never forget the anxiety it used to give me, about logging in and just seeing what people would say. I mean, they were awful. People are mean. They're
They
so mean.
are. They really are. And so for people that aren't creators and they hear us talking about this, they're like, "Psh, well, just get over it. Just no, you don't understand. When you get your inbox flooded sometimes with just all this hate, like you should go off yourself. I hope you don't have kids, you
Yeah.
POS, blah. I'm like, duh,
Yeah.
bruh. I
Yeah.
mean, any human can read those messages. Like any person, I don't care who you are or what you say, any creator, anybody has at one point at least read a message and it hurt their feelings, you know?
Oh,
I mean, there's no
100%.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way. So you just got to look at the bigger picture, I feel like, and just and keep going. And now that I've gotten the followers I've built up to, I guess now I feel like it's my job to spread the message.
Yeah. I just love what you're doing. I
Yeah,
absolutely
it's
love what you're doing.
you want to do this like once a week maybe, or
We should
you want
start
to
like a series. Like
yeah.
find a cool title,
Yeah.
about addiction and recovery, and we should do this. I think this is what we're supposed to do.
Oh, I'm so down. I am so down. Yes.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I need a
Yeah.
cool
Oh, this
little
like
room like you, though.
yeah.
We
Okay.
should probably set
Awesome.
up a
Well,
YouTube page for it too, huh?
Miss Tony, I really, really appreciate it, and I really fully believe that this was some kind of divine intervention. We're meant to share our stories, so everybody,
Yes. I got
we're gonna start
goosebumps.
our own little podcast, and we're gonna do it
So
once a week.
excited.
And yeah,
Thank you so much for reaching out and making this happen. This was so God ordained, like you don't even know, because it's been on my heart that I know I need to do this, but I'm like, how, where, when,
yeah.
so
That's
this is great.
same here. I've been thinking about it for the past 3 days about wanting to share, help people. So this is it. Let's do the dang thing,
We're
girl.
doing it.
Awesome.
We're doing
Heck
it.
yeah. Sweet. Well, you have a good Valentine's Day, and
You
I
too.
will talk at you later. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.